This retired teacher hires a companion to applaud him. The film begins by showing us an adult woman in a hotel room. Well, it seems that she was waiting for someone anxious, and on the other hand we see a boy walking through the streets. His name is Leo Big. So after a few minutes there's a knock on the hotel door. Where is the lady, who by the way is called Nancy, and when we open it we see that it's about Leo, who assures him that they will have a great time asking you before start opening a bottle of champagne, then asking what their deeds are. She said that just having intimacy, and while Leo trees together to sit down free to express what you want this. He thinks that maybe the young man doesn't like him because she's sold, but soon Leo will makes it known that he has nothing to do worry. Then Nancy lets him know that her husband is not in the world of the living because she was already widowed 2 years ago, telling him that he never was happy with her husband while they are intimates, since he was pretending just so that I would feel good, confessing here that only there has been a man in her life for that if something happens between them, Leo would become this kind with who has intimated this, while Leo finds it interesting and tells him that hopes not to disappoint her after Nancy asks about his job. But Leo ignores him, lets you know not to worry about it because he's passionately dedicated to what does, even with every second that the woman passes by, and becomes more and more nervous. So he quickly read. There assures him and tells him it's time to start. However, she stops him, advising this that something be taken for that I can be intimate with her. And Leo insists that he's fine and that he does not need nothing more. She asks him that who is the oldest woman who has had as a client, remembering and revealing to him that the greatest that had 82. Nancy is surprised and feels very sorry better. Hearing this while Leo is telling him says nice things about her, and here Nancy asks for a moment to go to the bathroom, where she calms herself while Leo prepares himself, but the woman takes so long that the boy decides to drink something and eat one chocolate bar, coming out Nancy then, but there realizes that he was eating chocolate, so she tells Leo no. He likes the smell of those sweets, so that the young man is going to brush his teeth. Immediately afterward, Leo leaves the bathroom, but Nancy tells him to repent of everything, that better take your things and go away, and that a party you can keep the money, but Leo insists on that everything is fine and just needs to calm down. So because of that, Nancy doesn't understand how Leo doesn't want to leave, and he tells him that he has to complete his work, which is make her feel good about what you invite her over for to continue, and ends up convincing her. Here Nancy asks him about his family, and Leo tells him that his mother doesn't know. What does she do? Because she thinks she works in an oil company, and at the same time she tells him that she has children who, they are older now, but they feel that every time they move further away from her, starting to getting to know each other better and having more confidence. Among them, Nancy then tells him that he never had any new experiences with his husband since everything seemed to him degrading for him. While I was full of desire to do things different, but he never managed to convince him. You're welcome at this point. Nancy remembers a time long before getting married, where on a vacation he met a man who quickly liked her, and the appreciation was mutual. Later she was about to become intimate with him. Although they were discovered and never returned, he saw again, and that's when Leo noted that she was already ready, since with that story aroused his lust finally. So without further ado, they begin to having intimacy takes time, and Nancy hires him again for another. They find that soon the boy, but this time the conversation is more fluid, while Nancy tells her that this time she comes more prepared. So he shows that it has a list with everything that she always wanted to do before. Then he tells her that he wants to finish the whole thing, list in that sessions and hiring. The service is very expensive, and she is not a woman with a high budget, telling her that it's possible that she is the last session. So Leo tells him that maybe they could make it, so it quickly shows itself to be nothing experience in this regard. However, she receives a call and you have to answer it, listening to Leo, who apparently has some problems with one of his children, so she comes out stressed. So I read her takes to dance with her and Tristo, relax the atmosphere by proceeding to put music to set the mood for the place. That little by little Neon relaxes and begins to fall into Leo's game. Although your cell phone rings again like this, that you have to take care of it, realizing it again, it is her daughter, managing to put. It makes Nancy tense. Then Leo has to go back to start relaxing her, so he gives her a massage. While she begins to feel better for what this tells him that only wants to feel like when he was young, but the problem is that he doesn't know how to do it. And this is where the boy notices that she has many problems emotional. So he advises you to keep watching so you can keep trying better your feelings, since you like it, that their clients are completely satisfied in every way. But Hernan takes those words as if we're promoting their services and inciting the money on him for what asks that they finish the list of once and for all, feeling a little Leo bad. Since she has misunderstood the word said previously, then Nancy says she just wants to do what first on the list event, how it feels bad since it is not entirely safe, since that she might not like, or maybe he may not like it, but Leo tells him that maybe she doesn't understand what's going on like this, who explains to him that he has all kinds of customers to whom he tries to make them happy in many ways. And that's why that he would like to see her happy here. Leo has started talking about an anecdote from the past, causing Nancy to have interest in what with its last minutes that he had left to manage to cross off some things on the list go by the days, and Nancy hires Leo for third session. But this time they take more advantage of the time and they start crossing more things off the list, so Nancy lets him know that those last days after having it known has felt much better and even smiles more often. So it seems to a youth that it is some kind of therapy which has helped him quite a bit though. The woman begins to insist knowing more about Leo's life, but this one is keeps him on the sidelines and tells him no can't tell you a lot about your safety. Although she surprises him because she tells him who has been investigating it's a point that reveals what your name is real, which is Connor. This causes that Leo starts to dress wee. He doesn't think he was going to annoy her by confessing that she would like to. They formed a friendship outside of that hotel, but at the same time, Leo makes him knowing that she should not have done that, because she overstepped the boundaries by warning him that if gets to tell someone else about who is actually will investigate about, she will tell everyone the class of services you are hiring via internet for this point. Nancy he tries to calm him down and tells him that even she could talk to her mother so that he understands the work that his son he has. Leo flatly refuses, now who tells him that his mother doesn't love him, quickly proceeding to take their things to leave the room, but forgets his cell phones, so he comes back. But while he's looking for him, he tells him that his mother abandoned him a long time ago, times since he never wanted it, and at the same time in a sarcastic way, thanks Nancy for making him take his floated past saying goodbye to her and asking him never to do it again. The days go by and Nancy is in the hotel restaurants, since hired Leo's service again for a fourth session, but her one woman who Ar's their name Becky, recognizes what is starting to happen to us because she could discover it of Leo and her. At the same time this last one arrives and improvises Ailey's that they don't think badly of Nancy, so they leave them alone with a cup of coffee. She immediately thanked him for have agreed to go again for what she apologizes to him for the last thing. I meet them later and he tells me that since acquired your service has felt very strong and powerful. So it also thank you for that and also tell him that recommended to some friends who are they trustworthy and believes they need it. Same Asher and here comes Becky who somehow we couldn't take it anymore and tells Leo that Nancy was once his teacher and did not understand them, so they're treated like any other. The boy was surprised to know that Nancy's faced after when they are alone again. Leo confesses to the woman whose mother did not love him because on one occasion she surprised him having intimacy with many of his friends, so she couldn't handle it and for that reason he had to leave, understanding Nancy better this matter. So called Becky and blames herself for how he also tried to confess to her who he was as Leo really, and what is he leaving his step lastly that they will go to a room to conclude their meeting. The new pawn entering their room is finally finished with Nancy's list, so she finally achieves everything that always wanted to thank him later again to boy, telling him that it will be his last session since finally you will be able to continue with your life by watching it in a best way. And this is how I tends movie.